Wake up, we need a driver.
Well, no, I don't want a driver. I like driving myself. I enjoy that. And in fact, I like making my own clothes.
We've sewn together some auto parts to create a 7th RPM day. The first day, the Daytona 500 field began to form.
And we went fast.
ARCA plans to do the Daytona thing tomorrow. It'll soon be time to clash. Try to grab a spot.
I'm going to go back in my shell.
Not yet. You got to make it to the finish. This is like a big ripoff. Live from Bristol, it's Saturday night. Hello, we're on again. We're on pretty much every night the rest of our lives. RPM tonight is officially a 7-night-a-week deal. We're coming to you from Connecticut, the aggressive driver state. The biggest deal in racing so far this year is just 8 days away. We'll be in Florida to cover the finish of the Daytona 500. Right now, we can tell you how it will start. The 1-2 positions at the front of the field were won today in qualifying, and here we go. Rain kind of messed things up. It'll hurt the wax job. Ernie Irvin, he got out first. Irvin clocked 47.663 seconds. That equates to about $1.88 and change. There's last year's champion, Terry Labonte. Only the 24th fastest this time, but there's a long season to come. Steve Grissom, replaced in the 29 car in the middle last year, has a great lap, $1.89 and change. Puts him outside on row 1. Nothing wrong with Ricky Mike Skinner's Chevy, just checking it out, NASCAR doing that. And then he passed everybody's expectations. Skinner blowing away teammate Dale Earnhardt's pole-winning speed of last year. Earnhardt's was 189 and change, his 189.813. Mishap in qualifying, Billy Standridge. Of course, I'm an excellent driver. He's okay. Try to fix the car for the twin 125. Jeff Gordon got some under-the-hood problems, and he also finished 22nd. Dale Earnhardt, last year's pole sitter, came in 10th fastest this time, 188.511. Rusty Wallace, among the fastest in practice all week long. He went out near the end of qualifying, ends up 4th, 189.179, the time for Rusty, the short track king. There's Dale Jarrett, defending champion, the 2-time winner of the Daytona 500, his run. He ends up in the 3 spot, 189.286 miles an hour. But when it was all over, Mike Skinner was walking off in slow motion. Only the top 2 spots are set. Everything else still will be decided. The trucker, Mike Skinner, coming over and jumps on the top spot. He rode his Lowe's Chevy around in 189.813. Steve Grissom with his Kodiak as his new sponsor, he was up for 2nd. Those two are 1-2 a week from tomorrow. Now, last year's Daytona champ Dale Jarrett was 3rd best, followed by fellow Ford guys Rusty Wallace and Bobby Hillin. We have 2 reports from Daytona. John Kernan will be followed by Marlo Klein.
Well, we all knew that Mike Skinner was very fast. In fact, the fastest Chevrolet in practice. But Mike, 189.8 miles an hour. Where did all that speed come from?
I drove around a piece of debris up there on the racetrack, and the car got a little bit loose and slid the tires a little bit. And I honestly think that it might have picked the motor up a little bit. The motor really ran hard up off the 4th turn, and I think we was carrying good speed when we started our 2nd lap. But I don't know. I guess that good Richard Childress engine in that car done a good job for us.
Now, you're a rookie starting on the pole for the biggest race in NASCAR Winston Cup. Has it hit you yet?
Not yet. I think it's hit me. My heart's been stopped here for the last 20 or 30 minutes, and as soon as that car gets into that room up there and back over there on jack stands, it'll start beating again.
But what about leading everybody down to take the green flag? Have you even thought about that, what that moment will be like?
Well, hopefully it's the biggest moment in Lowe's Home Improvement sponsorship in their history in racing, and it'll definitely be the biggest moment in mine. And there's only one thing that could be better than sitting on the pole in this race, and that's winning it. And I don't really feel I have the drafting experience to beat a Dale Earnhardt and some of these guys in this race, but we're going to get an opportunity to get some drafting experience.
Yeah, but Dale Earnhardt is his teammate. A surprise on the pole here at Daytona. Also a surprise on the outside of row number 1. For more on that, let's go over to Marlo Klein.
Thanks, John. Steve, what a wonderful way to say I'm back in Winston Cup racing.
Man, I tell you what, I'm awfully excited for the guys on this Kodiak team. I mean, you know, they've worked extremely hard and got this Chevrolet Monte Carlo running, and, you know, I'm tickled for those guys and myself as well, but, you know, it just shows the effort that they put forth, and, you know, I'm just glad for them.
You guys were fast in practice, but did you ever think that you would be sitting on the front row?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to say. Anytime you're down here with the restrictor plates practicing, you got other cars on the racetrack, it's hard to tell whether you're getting help or not. And we ran like a 70-something last time out, and Larry and I talked, and yeah, I told him, I said, I think we can run a 60, and he said, well, I believe we can run a 50. But, you know, the main thing is that we got a good time in, and, you know, with that, we're racing Sunday now, so, you know, with that, we can come in Monday morning, get working on our race setup, get the car driving good in the draft and all, and then look forward to Thursday in the 125s, and then from there, you know, look forward to Sunday's race.
This is a great way to start this partnership. Congratulations. Back to you in the studio.
Marlo, thank you. Now the pole sitter's set. Here's what the pole sitters have done in the past. The pole sitter usually does quite well or ends up quite a ways back. No middle ground when you look at these stats. 18 top 10s for the pole sitter, but also 17 finishes outside the top 20. Last year's pole sitter, Dale Earnhardt, finished second to Dale Jarrett. Time now for more qualifying reactions, starting with the defending Winston Cup champion.
I don't know why we're off a little bit. We just, we're missing something somewhere. We're just not sure. I hope we can be okay for the race, you know. It's the same car we raced last year, and it ran good. And we'll just have to go to work on it and try to get our race setup worked out.
Felt like we could have picked up a little bit from practice. Instead, we slowed down. But the winds have picked up. Everything's changed, you know. So it's certainly not the day we're looking for, but I'm glad we get this over with and start racing now.
We're really, really happy with it. You know, we knew we were going to be pretty good. We've been hovering in the top 10 all week in practice, and the last run we made in practice, we burned a gear up, and we ran like 48.50, and we were really scratching our head thinking, oh, no, you know, hope this isn't a repeat of last year. But, you know, hey, we changed the gear, put everything back the way it was, and car just ran great.
It was just disappointing because we really thought we could run quicker in a 40. We thought we'd get in the 30s, but just didn't happen. I don't know what it was. Sometimes waiting to dead last is not an advantage because everything just gets colder and colder in the car as far as the wheel bearings and rear ends and stuff like that. But really, I'm a little lost because we ran a 45 this morning pretty clean. The 57 now is a little lost, but I'll take third. And that's a lot better than I've ever done here, no doubt about that, but I sure like them better.
I think we got a good race car. We got a great car for the Busch Clash tomorrow, so we're still excited. A little disappointed because we didn't get on the front row. Chevrolets were sandbagging a little bit, I guess, this week.
I said before we started, if we could run what we ran in practice, that would be pretty good, and that's about where we're at. That's all we got. I hate those Chevrolets don't have a chance. That's a real shame.
We'll see about that. In the 38 Daytona 500s, row 1 starters have come home first 14 times. 7 from the pole, 7 from the 2 spot. The last pole sitter to win, Bill Elliott in 1987. He's popular. 3 through 10, not a terrible spot to start. Winners have come from those positions 16 times. Bobby Allison came from the worst spot to win this race, 33rd in the 1978 race. Greg Sachs was good for 9th best in today's run for the front row. He does know something about running first at Daytona. His lone Winston Cup win came at Daytona in the Pepsi Firecracker 400, that back in 1985. More of the men who wanted to be 1 or 2 but ended up 6, like John Andretti, who was fastest during the winter runs. Ernie Irvan was next, then Loy Allen and Greg Sachs. Ford held spots 3 through 9. So maybe that's what Jarrett was talking about. Dale Earnhardt, looking for Daytona 500 win number 1, was 10th fastest. Jeff Bodine was number 11. And on down the list we go with Sports Center favorite Dick Trickle hitting the board. Jimmy Spencer's Ford in 15th. The official rules were described to me once by Benny Parsons, but the engines were so loud I didn't hear a word he said. And we go over it again now. Positions 1 and 2, you know about that, already set. 3 through 30 will be taken care of through the results of the Twin 125 races on Thursday. Positions 31 through 38 are earned based on qualifying times. 39 through 42, these are provisional spots based on car owner points from last season. Spot 43, that's up for grabs if a past season champion needs it. If more than one is needed, the most recent champion would get in. Now then, on to the Busch Clash. It goes tomorrow in Daytona. This race is for the pole winners from last season's Winston Cup events, plus wild card entrant this year, Rusty Wallace. The 96 season champ, Terry Labonte, will start on the pole Sunday. Not that he did anything special this time. It was a drawing. Here we go. Practice. There's Jeff Gordon's one race only paint job. Some near mishaps out there. Jeff Burton flips along Ernie Irvan. They almost come together, but nothing really happens. Another close call, same place. Ted Musgrave. This time he does tag Irvan. And then Ernie nearly catches up against the wall, but Ted holds it together as well. Bobby Labonte also practicing in traffic with his new Pontiac, and he was kind enough to speak with us afterward.
Everybody's in the same group. I mean, it's hard to get away and, you know, hard to make a gain on somebody, but it drives okay.
Got a good starting spot.
That's the good news. The bad news is they invert the field in 10 laps, so that didn't really work out too good. But I don't know. It's just hard to say what, you know, what'll happen. You really don't have any strategy for that race. You just kind of go out there and do the best you can in both segments.
The Busch Clash grid decided by lottery. If you had numbers 5 and 6, you're a winner. That's Terry Labonte and Mark Martin starting from row 1. Terry's brother Bobby, a 1996 Rookie of the Year, Johnny Benson, they'll start side by side there at row 3. The Intimidator with 6 career Busch Clash wins takes off from the 9 spot. Ricky Craven in his first official race for the Hendrick Motorsports team start inside on row 6. Remember, they invert the field after the first 10 laps. Do remember that. We did everything but go door to door to promote this one. A bit later, our brush with greatness, a meeting with Team Rahall's David Letterman.
You want to come down to Daytona and see the race? We'll get you in.
You know, I'm reluctant to say yes, because if I say yes, I get the feeling you're under the impression I'll be hanging around with you.
All right. Even before we hear from Dave, you'll see more from Daytona. The ARCA gang getting set to go on Sunday right after the wall is repaired. What about the ARCA gang? Accident between Perry Tripp and Ed Barrier occurred in the final minutes of the ARCA practice. Barrier's going to have to use his backup car. Hopefully the tow truck won't be involved. Tripp, he's going to have to fix his.
Coming out of turn 4, I felt that tires started flopping, so I signaled Barrier I was slowing down, but it let go going into the trioval, and neither one of us had a chance. It went straight into the wall after that.
I was passing Perry Tripp on the outside, and he blew the right front tire, and there's nothing he could do, and he just drove both of us in the wall. And
what are you going to do for the race tomorrow?
I guess we'll just get the spare car, you know, prepared as good as we can, and we'll have to start in the rear, I reckon, and see what we can do and see how it goes first part of the race. We won't get no practice with it or anything.
We'll have to fix that car. That's the only one we got right now that's halfway together. So, you know, it's a shame for the WW team and crew to end the day on a note like this. We had a real good car out there, but, you know, we're not going to give up.
All right, ESPN News Hustle in the Sound Force. See the ARCA 200 on ESPN, the original, the guys who made up those 4 letters, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Andy Hillenberg, he's got the pole. Tim Steele, not pictured. He'll start 10th. Of course, he was the champ last season, and he had 12 wins during the year. Okay, this is the final promotion. David Letterman shows up in the next block. We mean it.
I live 40 miles away, and it takes 6 hours to get home. You know, that ain't right.
Shouldn't you have a driver at this point?
Well, no, I don't want a driver. I like driving myself. I enjoy that. In fact, I like making my own clothes, so I make all my own outfits.
We didn't mess around when lining up a guest for our initial Saturday RPM and the debut of In the Driver's Seat from Team Rahal and The Late Show. Here's David Letterman, automobile lover. When you grow up, do you want to be Tom Snyder or Chip Ganassi?
Well, geez, that's a tough choice. Chip Ganassi, the last time I saw him, I don't know, 300 pounds? 300 pounds, and the sky's the limit. Tom Snyder, I've always admired Tom Snyder. I guess I'll vote for Tom Snyder in this case. I like Tom.
Truly, you'd be happier being the superstar in the entertainment world or the superstar of automotive world?
Well, first of all, you're drunk. Not a superstar, never will be a superstar. It would be nice, but it ain't going to happen. But I guess if I could be somebody in the world of motorsports, I wouldn't mind being Bobby Rahal. I wouldn't mind being Roger Penske. I wouldn't mind being one of those guys. You know, that seems like a pretty nice deal.
Now, you put in X amount of dollars. Did you just have so much damn money? It was either get the Wiener Schnitzel franchise or get into auto racing? What was
it? He said Wiener. Yeah, that's it. I just have so damn much money that, you know, I got like 6 to 18 Dairy Queens, and I said, what am I going to do with the balance of this money? I could do one of two things. I can just set fire to my checkbook, or I could get into motorsports. And I feel really lucky to be a minority owner of Team Rahal.
What minority are you?
It's none of your business.
When you go to these races, you show up for the Rahal team, and they say, Dave, what do you think we should do as such and such adjustment, or are you just there to attract the chicks? What are you doing?
I'm there to attract the chicks. That's right. Gee-many. No, I know, you know, I can go up to Bobby and say, Bobby, left front looks a little low. And that's about it. I'm done. You know, then I'm back in the motorhome. And, you know, he puts up with it because he's got my money. So he knows that, yeah, plenty. More than you'll ever see, son.
You know a lot about cars. You followed all your life. You could blow us away with your transverse gearbox information right here.
Yeah, but, you know, it's different. I'm lucky enough to be in a position to be part of this and to enjoy it. But I certainly would not be as presumptuous or pretentious to start sharing, you know, pit stop strategy and fuel mixtures and, you know, how many inches of boost are we going to be running? You know, I just, you know, but what I can handle is, Brian, your seat belt nice and snug? Your harness okay? All right, that's about it for me.
From Indiana, that's where it started? You grew up there, so did you sneak into the Indy 500?
No, you didn't have to sneak in, for God's sake. There's 400,000 seats. You don't have to sneak in. Oh, gosh, I hope there's room for me. No, in May, in Indiana, after the winter, spring comes and things start to smell green, and it's about time they open up the motor speedway and everybody goes out there. I mean, it's sort of a rite of the season changing.
What's the fastest you've ever gone? Have you got into a whatever kind of car and just gone nuts?
The fastest I've ever gone in a street car was, I had some kind of 911, I don't know what the hell they were calling them then, the 2+2 or the 4x4 or the 911 Gesundheit, or I don't know what it is. And behind me is like a big, huge sedan, like the biggest sedan Mercedes-Benz makes. It's the, you know, the Mercedes C940 XY20 something, just huge, big charcoal gray. And it's like a family. They're coming back from the zoo. It's Sunday afternoon. There's a family of 8 in there, and they flash in the lights. And I'm going 140, and I'm thinking, no, you're not coming around me. I'm going 140. I don't care if you are German. You're not coming around me. So I nudged it up to 145, still with the lights, still with the lights. I finally got it up, nosed up to 150, and the guy behind me just got fed up, came right around, just blew right by me. I'm doing 150. And the experience just shook me. I was white. I had to pull right off the Autobahn and go in for some strudel or something. I was just, oh my God. And that was it. That was my little taste of, no. I can't conjure what it must be like, the concentration and the skill that it takes to drive competitively at those speeds and greater and beyond, you know.
Winston Cup is, you know, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, those guys.
Now there's a piece of work, Dale Earnhardt. I mean, you know, he'd come in and just kick us both to death, wouldn't he? The door would just bust open. I heard you boys making fun of me, and just kick us to death, wouldn't he? And then we'd have to call Humpy Wheeler.
Do you have any questions for us at all?
You know, nobody's ever asked me about the time I met Ayrton Senna.
What about the time you met Ayrton Senna?
When they used to race the Formula One, would go to Phoenix. They raced there like 4 years or something. And I forget when it was. It was in the, well, I'm bad with dates. Somebody will know.
Back in about 89, you met Ayrton Senna.
The late 80s, early 90s, yeah. And they had the first one was there like in June in Phoenix. Excellent idea. It was about 140, you know. And then the good thing about this, having the Formula One race there was, you know, nobody went. You know, there was just nobody there. So you could just, you know, like park next to the McLaren motorhome. Anyway, I got to meet Ron Dennis. And Ron's shown us around the garage there at Phoenix, and he says to me, would you like to meet Ayrton? And I just thought, well, holy God, yes, absolutely. And I have this joke whenever I go into one of these motorhomes, and I've been using it for years, and now, of course, you can try it. I walk in, and I look around and say, would you mind if I take a shower? And, you know, people usually, oh, God, what does he think we're doing, you know? And so I said that to Ayrton Senna, and he looked at me, and he says, well, sure, go ahead. And I said, no, it's, you know, it's a joke, but my Portuguese stinks. But I just thought that couldn't have been more charming that some idiot that he doesn't know is standing there in his motorhome wanting to take a shower.
Sounds like they need security.
Yeah. We all enjoyed a good laugh, and then Ayrton got out his little briefcase, and he opened it up, and he says, here, I want you to have this, and he gave me a helmet pin. And I just thought, well, I'm in heaven.
Dave, thanks for being funny. We have stockpiled still more from him, specifically on his kart team and his fond memories of Indiana. Look for that closer to the start of the kart season. Next Saturday night, Dale Earnhardt in the driver's seat. We're right back with more from Daytona. The top 2 spots are set. What's this guy doing up front? Do you mind if I take a shower in here? Thank you. But we have a question, and I forgot about it. You know there's a rookie on the pole. Who was the last rookie to win a Daytona 500 pole? All right, I almost forgot the question, but I do know the answer. The last rookie to win a Daytona 500 pole, Loy Allen, 1994, ended up in 22nd spot for that race. So much for feeling things out, getting used to the big time. Mike Skinner made the jump from the Truck Series to the front of the pack for the Daytona 500. He's got the pole. Marla Klein has the story.
Dale Earnhardt is always the story leading up to the Daytona 500, but Saturday it was his rookie teammate Mike Skinner who stole the show by grabbing the pole.
I was talking about the lap that the 41 and a couple of the other cars that had ran, and I said, man, that's awful strong. I just don't think we can do that. And I said, you know, a lot of it, we were talking about the wind, and said, you know, if the wind will die down for you on the front stretch and pick up for you on the back stretch, maybe you can get a good lap. And I don't know what happened with the wind, but we got a pretty good lap.
It feels great. It really does. It's amazing. I was just telling these guys up until last year, teams I worked with, we had a hard time just qualifying for the speedways, let alone being in a pole like this. It's amazing what Richard Childress just gives you everything you need, and look what happens.
For car owner Richard Childress and Lowe's team manager David Smith, this marks their second straight Daytona 500 pole. Smith was Dale Earnhardt's crew chief last season when the Good Run Chevy was first to the green flag.
We won the pole last year and had to sweat out again today. This is fun. He really cranked a good lap out there. You know, Mike Skinner's awfully good qualifier. He's a good driver. I look for this to happen a lot this year.
We knew we had 2 good cars and wanted to try to get one of them on the pole, you know, have them both on the front row, but it just didn't come out like we wanted, but we're tickled to death to have one of them up there.
Skinner became the 6th active driver during his first career pole at this speedway. The last to do it, Dale Jarrett at the 1995 Daytona 500 when he finished 5th. And, of course, last season he goes on to win the whole thing. The Joe Gibbs team and Bobby Labonte out there in a Pontiac this season, 19th. It's not terrible. Also better than his brother. And we look along here at all the others out there racing, trying to get in. Their next move, the twin 125s. Bill Elliott in the 16th spot. He remains popular. Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte, the teammates there, they're 22nd and 24th on Saturday. Ricky Craven, another teammate in 26th. Chad Little driving for Mark Rippon, he's 30th. Kyle Petty, 32nd and owner driver this season. Bobby Hamilton out there for the King in the 36th spot, down to Jeff Burton in the 40 spot. Johnny Benson driving for Pennzoil is in the 41 spot, followed by Ward Burton on down to Brett Bodine. And remember, fellas, you still got the twin 125s, no matter how you finished here, like Gary Bradbury in 48. Dale McCowart, he's out there. He'll try to qualify for the race. And all by himself, Joe Nemechek, 51st. We're coming back for still more of RPM. Advance word on Sunday's TV show. We have a guy who drives faster than Letterman. Hey, please watch tomorrow night's RPM with fast driver Jeff Gordon. The marketing of Gordon is going at a pretty quick pace, too. The password is Rita Moreno. RPM tonight, Sunday night, 7 Eastern tomorrow. Usually it'll be at 8, but Bastille Day interfered with it or something. We're out of time this time, but we'll be back Sunday night as promised, 7 Eastern. We'll see you then.